Chosen One, July 19th and 20th, 2025, are not ordinary days. They were marked in the spirit long before you even realized how close you were to something divine. These dates are not random. They are sacred checkpoints in your spiritual timeline. Appointed moments. Designated alignments. This is not just another Friday or Saturday coming your way. This is a moment of supernatural synchronization, where what you have been praying for, what you've been spiritually sensing, and what heaven has been preparing, all collide. Watch this video to the very end, Chosen One. What you are about to hear could be the divine spark that changes your direction forever. And write your warmest, most heartfelt wishes in the comments and type 777. This is a sacred act, an energetic release, a moment where your words begin to materialize your reality. Let this chapter be the moment where your wishes start to breathe and the universe echoes your desire with divine alignment. Now, Chosen One, like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's start. Something is stirring in the spiritual atmosphere around these dates. You might have already felt the internal trembling, a kind of whisper inside your chest that says, "Be ready." This is not fear. It's not anxiety. It's the spiritual preparation that comes when something major is about to unfold. For the Chosen One, nothing arrives without spiritual notice. God does not surprise you without signs. He sends whispers, nudges, and dreams before he sends shifts. And the shift tied to July 19th and 20th is loud in the spirit, even if it's still quiet on earth. You might be walking through what feels like stillness now. An eerie calm, almost too quiet to make sense. But what you're sensing is not the absence of movement. It's the pause before performance. It's the breath before thunder. The silence before the divine unveiling. God has cleared the spiritual air so you can hear this clearly. July 19th and 20th are updates from heaven. These days are like spiritual portals, passages between where you've been and where you're destined to rise. Your spirit has been tracking this without you even realizing it. Have you noticed the intensity of your dreams lately? The restless energy at night? The recurring symbols? The numbers? The divine interruptions in your routine? These are not coincidences. These are spiritual breadcrumbs. God's way of guiding you without GPS. Your destiny doesn't require earthly instructions. It responds to spiritual direction. July 19th and 20th are not for the masses. They are divine notices for the ones who are tuned in. The ones who have been carrying something heavy. The ones who feel the weight of responsibility without fully understanding why. Chosen One. This is why your journey has been so different. This is why the usual advice doesn't fit. Why the standard timelines never applied to you. You were never created to be ordinary. These dates are heaven's reminder of that. For some, July 19th and 20th will pass like any other day. But for you, they hold prophecy. They carry messages. They carry spiritual documentation. Divine proof that God hasn't forgotten what he promised you. There's been a delay, yes. But delay is not denial. Delay often means preparation. And when God prepares something specifically for you, he needs time to move things into place that you can't even see. You may be feeling tired, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. And yet somehow, you're still standing. You're still here. You've outlived storms that were designed to break you. And that survival wasn't for nothing. It was spiritual qualification. It was heaven's process of refinement. God didn't allow you to endure the fire to see you crumble. He allowed it so that when the update arrives, you'd have the spiritual maturity to receive it. These updates are not just about blessings. They're about clarity. They're about sudden knowing, spiritual aha moments that shift your direction without needing external confirmation. You'll wake up with certainty. You'll know who is for you and who is against you. You'll finally understand why you had to lose some people to gain alignment. You'll finally see how certain losses were actually divine protection. The pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The spiritual veil will be thin on these days. That means downloads will be stronger. Visions will be clearer. What you ignored before, you will no longer be able to dismiss. Divine nudges will feel like spiritual fire. Your soul will be loud. And the things that were buried deep within you, the callings, the gifts, the forgotten revelations, will start to surface again. This is what it means to be updated by God, not just with information, but with activation. You will not leave these days the same. If you are spiritually awake, you will walk into the weekend with one identity and walk out with another. Not because you've become someone else, but because you'll finally recognize who you've been all along. July 19th and 20 are identity revelations. Masks are coming off. False labels are being shredded. Heaven is announcing who you are, loudly, unapologetically, and with spiritual evidence. People around you may not understand the shift. Some may even push back against it. But let me remind you, chosen one, obedience is not a popularity contest. When God updates your spiritual path, it often comes with subtraction before multiplication. That's not rejection, it's refinement. The fewer distractions you carry into your divine season, the clearer your walk becomes. You don't need more noise. You need precision. You need obedience. You need to move when the cloud moves. And that's exactly what's happening on these dates. The cloud is moving. The spiritual positioning is changing. What was blocked before will be open. What didn't make sense before will start to click. Conversations that were stagnant will suddenly pick up momentum. Resources that were withheld will begin to flow. And ideas that once felt like fantasy will become tangible instructions. This is the energy of divine acceleration, and it's landing directly in your spiritual lap. This is not a season to explain yourself. This is a season to execute. To trust the unseen more than the visible. To honor what your soul knows, even when your mind doubts it. Because your soul was created to hear God's voice, and that voice is loudest during moments like this. You didn't come this far to start questioning the clarity that's being given to you now. This is not confusion. This is elevation. July 19th and 20 are also days where heaven may close certain doors. Don't be alarmed. Don't resist. When something exits your life during a divine update, it is often God's hand at work, removing what would have sabotaged your next step. Don't chase after what God is removing. Don't try to resuscitate what heaven has already called finished. Let it go. The update requires space. The new can't land on the old. It's time for spiritual renovation. And in the midst of all this shifting, there will be peace. Yes, peace. Not the kind that the world gives, but the peace that makes no sense, that surpasses understanding, that anchors your spirit when everything else feels unstable. This peace is the divine indicator that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, that you didn't miss it, that God hasn't overlooked you, that the alignment is precise. Chosen one, this update has been coming for a long time. It's the result of every tear, every silent prayer, every private war you fought while pretending to be okay. You've walked through loneliness that others didn't notice. You've carried burdens that didn't belong to you, all because you sensed there was something bigger at stake. And now, the divine ledger is shifting. Your obedience has been weighed, and the verdict is this: it's your time. Your time for awareness. Your time for elevation. Your time for correction, redirection, and resurrection. The dead places in your life are about to be stirred. The dormant gifts are waking up. Your name is being spoken in rooms you've never entered. You are being remembered in spaces that once ignored you. And it's not because of who you know. It's because of who you are. You are God's signal in this generation. You are a walking announcement of divine possibility. And that's why July 19th and 20 could not pass without a message. There is something supernatural about divine appointments. They don't come with loud announcements to the world, but they come with unmistakable clarity to the one they are meant for. And that one is you. You who've been walking through spiritual fog, still choosing faith over fear. You who've been isolated not by mistake, but by design. You who've been walking with God when it felt like no one else was listening. That faith has activated something sacred. July 19th and 20th are heaven's response. What's being prepared for you isn't something you could have earned with effort alone. This is about alignment, not hustle. This is about posture, not performance. This is about who you are in the eyes of the divine, not who you appear to be to others. You are being summoned to a spiritual moment where your obedience, your pain, and your prayers intersect, where what you've endured in silence becomes the ground for your supernatural harvest. These days are a divine intersection. One side is what you've survived. The other is where you're headed. And right in the center is God's hand, extending grace and revelation. But this moment will require courage, because updates don't just inform, they reform. They reshape what you thought was permanent. They unravel what looked stable but was spiritually expired. They shift your steps without consulting your preferences. This will not be the kind of shift that asks for your permission. It will be the kind that demands your participation. If you're still waiting for a perfect moment, you may miss the Holy One. And this right here, is the holy moment. Chosen one, you are not behind. You are not too late. You are not disqualified. That voice in your head, the one that whispers you've missed your opportunity, is a lie born of fear. God does not deal in expiration dates. He deals in appointed times, and you have now stepped into one. July 19th and 20th are coded with divine insight. That means revelation will come in waves. You'll think you've received all there is, and suddenly, another layer will unfold. You'll get downloads in your sleep, while you walk, in the silence, through music, or even in a sentence someone casually speaks around you. Stay sensitive. Stay spiritually tuned in. These aren't random signals. They are strategic messages from heaven. And this time, you will not be confused. The days of wondering, is this me or is this God, are fading. The fog is lifting. Discernment is being sharpened. You'll hear clearer, feel deeper, and see further. God is removing the noise not just around you, but within you. The internal chaos is subsiding, not because life is suddenly easy, but because you are being recalibrated for this new realm. This divine update has been in motion longer than you know. The things you thought were delays were actually protections. You didn't miss out. You were hidden. There's a difference. To be hidden is to be preserved. To be hidden is to be molded where no one sees. And when the unveiling happens, it's not for applause. It's for purpose. You were not created to blend in. That's why blending has never worked. That's why you've always felt just a little off in places where others felt at home. That tension was God's way of keeping you from spiritual comfort zones that would have buried your calling. And now, that calling is being awakened. July 19th and 20 are alarm clocks for the chosen ones who've been spiritually sleeping with their eyes open. This is the season of divine exposure, where the true is separated from the false, the real from the noise, the assignment from the distraction. Don't be surprised if people begin to exit your life around these dates. It's not betrayal. It's cleansing. Don't be shocked if you feel the urge to say no to things that used to excite you. That's not boredom. It's transformation. Heaven is calling your attention inward. What you see with your physical eyes will start to matter less, and what you perceive in your spirit will begin to lead you. That inner knowing, that deep, unshakable peace, it's not emotional. It's prophetic. It's evidence that God is activating what was always inside of you. Not something new, but something pure. Something untouched by pain, yet shaped by it. And what a gift that is. To carry something that even your enemies couldn't destroy. They tried to delay you, distract you, even discredit you. But what they couldn't do was derail what God already decided. And that's what this divine update is all about. It's confirmation that nothing you faced has the power to erase what was divinely declared. July 19th and 20th are days of finalization. Things that have been lingering in limbo, conversations that never finished, opportunities that stayed in waiting rooms, answers that never came, will find their conclusion. And not just any conclusion, a divine one. One that brings peace, one that brings direction, one that frees you to step fully into the new without dragging the old behind you. You're being released, not just from situations, but from identities you've outgrown. You're being released from roles that were rooted in trauma, from expectations you accepted just to survive. This is your release into fullness, into truth, into alignment with how heaven already sees you. And as this happens, you'll begin to recognize your voice again, not the one you've used to keep the peace or hide your truth, but your real voice, the one that has the power to shape atmospheres, to call down miracles, to shift rooms with a single sentence. That voice has been silenced too long, but no more. This update doesn't just reactivate your purpose, it reclaims your sound. You were never meant to be quiet. You were meant to thunder. You were never made to follow trends. You were made to set them. You were not called to echo. Your calling is to initiate. And the more you embrace that, the more you'll begin to see why so many battles had to come first. Because the more powerful the voice, the greater the resistance to silence it. But resistance doesn't scare you anymore. You've learned to walk through warfare with wisdom. You've learned to praise even in pressure. And that posture, one of surrender and strength, is the key to what's being unlocked. You are not stepping into these dates the same. You are coming with authority, with a crown that no man gave you and no system can take. You are walking into July 19th and 20 with the spirit of, I was chosen for this. Not with pride, but with clarity. Not with ego, but with certainty. And that certainty is going to scare some people, but it will save others. Because this isn't just about you. This update is generational. The decisions you make on these days ripple into the bloodline. Chains you break now will not be passed down. Doors you walk through will remain open for those coming after you. This is a legacy shift. This is spiritual lineage transformation. And you, chosen one, are the doorway. So be brave, be sensitive, be still when needed, and bold when required. You will not be alone. The same God who gave you this word is the same one who walks beside you into its fulfillment. He has not brought you this far to abandon you now. He's not updating your spirit just to leave your life untouched. What's coming is comprehensive. Your finances, your relationships, your clarity, your strength, your wisdom. All of it is being recalibrated for what comes next. You are not just being updated, you are being upgraded. And the world has no idea what's about to emerge from you. What has been building behind the scenes is about to take center stage, and this time, nothing will be able to stop it. Not confusion, not fear, not delay, not even your past. When God decides that it is your time, every obstruction must move. And chosen one, that time is here. July 19th and 20th were not added to the calendar for ordinary events. They were carved into history to hold what only you could carry. And now, what was hidden is about to be released. This isn't about hype. It's about alignment. It's about a long-awaited moment finally catching up to your readiness. You've been faithful when no one applauded. You've kept your head up while everything in your life tried to bring it down. You've forgiven when you had every right to fight. You chose silence instead of revenge. You chose growth over getting even. And heaven noticed. The angels assigned to your life have not been idle. They've been working with precision, rearranging, unlocking, preparing. There have been spiritual negotiations happening in the realms you cannot see, all to ensure that the delivery of your promise wouldn't be intercepted. Some battles you didn't even know you were fighting have already been won for you. These 2 days are when heaven hands you the evidence. Don't worry if it feels like you haven't done enough. This is not a reward for productivity. It's the result of obedience. God doesn't bless hustle. He blesses surrender. And you've surrendered much, even when it hurt, even when it was lonely, even when it made no earthly sense, but it made divine sense. And in that divine realm, every tear watered something powerful. Every no was a setup for the right yes. Every delay preserved the integrity of your mission. What's coming is not just visible success, it's internal confirmation. You will feel different, not better than others, but more sure of yourself. There will be no more trying to convince yourself that you're worthy. No more apologizing for being chosen. No more shrinking into old habits to make others comfortable. You will know your place, and you will occupy it boldly. July 19th and 20th are not isolated. They're part of a divine chain reaction. One domino will tip the next. One revelation will open another. Don't try to predict how it will look. You're not called to control the how. You're called to trust the when. And the when is now. You may receive visions. Not just ideas, but clear instructions. You may feel things in your body, sensations that carry divine messages. Pay attention. The physical realm is responding to a spiritual command. You are being calibrated. Your sensitivity is not a weakness, it is an instrument. You feel deeply because you're wired to discern what others dismiss. That's why you were chosen. During these days, God may also highlight certain people in your life. Some are being illuminated because they are part of the next chapter. Others are being exposed because they are not. Don't argue with the revelations. Don't resist what is revealed. If someone is meant to be removed, let them go gracefully. If someone is meant to stay, nurture that connection. These relationships are no longer random. They are assignments. Your discernment will be tested. There will be distractions dressed as opportunities. There will be noise disguised as prophecy. There will be offers that appeal to your ego but starve your spirit. Choose wisely. The right thing will never require you to compromise your peace. God will not confuse you into alignment. He leads with clarity, even if it challenges your comfort. These dates are not about being busy. They are about being present. Do not fill them with obligations. Protect your time. Carve out space for silence. Be willing to disconnect from digital noise. If you are truly serious about receiving divine instruction, you must make room for it. God does not shout over chaos. He speaks into stillness. In the stillness, you will remember things you forgot. Dreams you buried will rise again. Childhood moments that shaped your calling will resurface. Divine downloads will come with flashes of knowing, those moments where everything clicks. Trust that. Don't overthink it. Don't explain it away. The supernatural doesn't ask for human permission. It just is. You are not imagining it. The world around you may not see it, but your soul does. The lightness you're starting to feel, that's not random. That's spiritual weight being lifted. That's a burden being exchanged for boldness. That's the heaviness of yesterday being replaced with the clarity of now. Your soul knows when freedom is near, and it is close. Chosen one, these days are a spiritual portal, but portals don't stay open forever. That's why your alertness matters. That's why your readiness matters. That's why the preparation you didn't understand in previous seasons makes sense now. God wasn't punishing you. He was posturing you. He was making sure you'd be ready when the opening arrived. And it's here. You don't have to pretend anymore. You don't have to downplay what you carry. This is not the time to hold back. This is the time to say yes with your whole being. Yes to the call. Yes to the stretching. Yes to the unveiling. Yes to the favor. Yes to the transformation. You're not stepping into it blindly. You're stepping into it boldly, because it's already been spiritually confirmed. You will notice synchronicities, repeated numbers, signs in nature, conversations that feel perfectly timed. These are confirmations, not superstitions. God speaks in patterns. He sends signs when words are not enough. And He's sending many to you now because He wants you to know. You are not crazy. You are not mistaken. You are right where you need to be. The favor coming to you is precise, tailored. It will not be messy or confusing. It will not come through manipulation or striving. It will come through alignment. You won't need to chase it. It will locate you. The doors you knock on will not be the ones that open, because the doors meant for you will swing without effort. They will recognize the sound of your destiny approaching. This favor won't just change your circumstances. It will change how you carry yourself. You will no longer settle for what insults your anointing. You will no longer shrink for the sake of comfort. You will begin to walk like someone who is aware of their calling, not with arrogance, but with authority. And others will see it. Some will be drawn to it. Others will be threatened by it. But none of that matters. What matters is that you remain rooted, that you remain faithful, that you keep showing up with your spirit open and your heart ready. Because what's unfolding on these days is not just a moment. It's a movement. A spiritual movement that will echo into the months to come. July 19th and 20th are not isolated. They are the spark, the ignition. What begins here will not end here. It will grow. It will intensify. It will attract resources, ideas, people, opportunities. The days of surviving are turning into days of thriving. The wilderness season is coming to an end. The days of wandering are being traded for the days of clarity. You are stepping out of almost and into finally. You are stepping out of waiting and into walking. You are stepping out of if and into when. And when is now. These are not just prophetic days. They are performance days. God is not just whispering. He is acting. He is shifting things in your favor while others are asleep to the moment. He is aligning things in the spirit that will soon be visible in the natural. And when it happens, it will not be subtle. It will be undeniable. You will look around and realize nothing is the same. And most importantly, you will feel within yourself, I am not the same either. The update you are receiving is not cosmetic, it's cellular. It's not surface level, it's soul deep. This isn't just about an event. It's about your entire identity being recalibrated to fit the version of you that God has already seen, already anointed, and already set in motion. This is not a rehearsal. This is the real beginning of everything you were secretly made for. There's been a quiet rumble in your spirit that you couldn't explain. Maybe you felt agitated, or overly emotional, or strangely tired. But it's not weariness, chosen one. It's spiritual transition. Your old energy is being peeled off. The armor you wore just to survive those past seasons, it's coming off. You won't need it where you're going. You don't need to defend what God is about to declare. When July 19th and 20 pass, you will have crossed a line, a spiritual threshold. There will be no going back. The tests that used to trip you will look small now. The confusion that used to haunt you will lose its power. Not because life is suddenly perfect, but because your spirit is now aligned with divine instruction. There is power in clarity. It silences chaos. And you are receiving that power now. And here's the deeper truth. This update is not just about what you'll receive. It's about who you're becoming. It's about the way you'll think from now on, the way you'll discern, the way you'll pray, not out of desperation but with authority, the way you'll listen, not just for confirmation, but for command. You're no longer asking God to prove something. You're ready to move based on what your spirit already knows is real. There will be moments during these 2 days when your entire past will flash before you. You'll see the younger version of yourself, the one who dreamed without limits before the world taught you to doubt. You'll feel the weight of every spiritual battle you fought and realize you were never fighting alone. Angels were stationed around you, covering you, whispering strength into your soul when your heart felt like quitting. You were never forsaken. You were being forged. You'll remember every closed door, but now you'll see them as necessary. They didn't mean rejection. They meant redirection. Had they opened, you would have walked into something that would have buried your promise. God used divine silence to build your sensitivity. And now, that sensitivity is your compass. Your knowing is not weak. It's your weapon. And while others are chasing approval, you're being reminded of your assignment. That's why this update is so personal. It's not meant to go viral. It's meant to go vital. Straight into your being, into your bloodstream, into your decisions, into your voice, into your next step. You won't have to convince people of your change. The energy will say it all. The atmosphere will adjust when you walk in. Not because of ego, but because of alignment. Do not underestimate what you're carrying. It's not just influence, it's inheritance. God didn't give you influence just to be seen. He gave you spiritual inheritance so you could shift the frequency of every space you enter. You are not here to impress. You are here to impact. And impact doesn't need an audience to begin. It needs obedience. July 19th and 20th are days where time will seem to stretch. You may notice how slow or quiet everything feels. That's not stagnation. It's sacred space. It's the slowing down of time to give you room to absorb the divine. Pay close attention. What feels like stillness is actually preparation for divine speed. After these days, acceleration will begin. But God doesn't accelerate what hasn't been aligned. So He's aligning you now, stripping off the last pieces of fear, shame, people-pleasing, and self-doubt. Uninstalling the lies, updating your identity, installing courage, installing clarity. You are not who you were even 1 week ago. There's been a break in the spirit, a sacred release, a new access granted, and you've been marked for it. Marked, not because you're better, but because you were willing. You said yes in moments when saying no would have been easier. You stayed faithful when no one else clapped. You chose integrity when shortcuts were available. You chose God again and again, even when your feelings begged you to give up. Heaven remembers. This update is heaven's response to your silent yes, your tearful yes, your isolated yes. God is about to make it public, not to elevate your name, but to confirm His. You are a living prophecy. Your life is a message, a walking testimony of what happens when you don't quit, even when it hurts. And you will not quit now, not here, not this close. You didn't endure everything you went through just to watch someone else live your calling. You didn't battle through betrayal, loss, and delay just to exist in the background. No. God allowed those things to happen so you would have the depth and empathy required to carry something eternal. This is bigger than you. It always has been. Your children, your community, your lineage, they are all tied to this obedience. When you walk into your next, they rise with you. When you answer your assignment, you release grace over others too. That's why the warfare was so intense. Because your obedience activates deliverance in people you've never even met. The enemy wanted you distracted, off course, weary, bitter, isolated. Anything to keep you from realizing that July 19th and 20th are not just spiritual events. They are prophetic detonations. Divine explosions that will unravel decades of confusion and birth clarity in a single breath. Heaven is moving. And now, so must you. You may hear instructions in the form of urges, nudges, ideas that feel too bold, too fast, too different. Trust them.